Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me for today's video, and in it I'm gonna go over fantasy football's top 15 quarterback options in 2022. There are a ton of viable quarterbacks this season once again, so if you do not get one of the upper echelon options, do not worry. Even my third tier provides week winning upside. Tier 2 has some injury risk, but if things break right, they could all finish as the overall quarterback 1. Tier 1 combines the very best at the position with some of the league's best offenses. They will give you an edge each and every week. Now, before I get into the numbers, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. Really appreciate you spending some time with me here today. I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. To get that support from you guys means the world to me, and it helps me out so very much. With that done, let's get into this version of quarterback rankings. I'm going to start at 15 and work my way down to the guy that I believe is not only the best quarterback in real life, but the superstar do-it-all who is going to stand on top the mountain as fantasy's best in 2022. To kick off tier 3, I have Aaron Rodgers here at 15. And I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted to keep Rodgers off of my list altogether, and can you really blame me? The Packers traded away Devontae Adams and then tried the quantity over quality approach to restock the cupboards. I am very concerned with the lack of receiving options in Green Bay's passing attack. But with all of that being said, this is still Rodgers, and I would be foolish to bet against him being able to conjure up something from the nothingness around him. The Packers will run more this year than last, and they already ran it plenty. But A-Rod is going to find a way to remain a viable QB2 option. After putting up an incredibly efficient season once again last year, he has shown that volume does not have to be massive for him to produce. It doesn't hurt that both A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones can do damage through the air. So even if they are dependent upon more than owners would like, Rodgers is still going to get some sort of boost from their talent in the passing game. Now, if Christian Watson can take off early and the connection there becomes solid, then Rodgers is going to once again threaten the top 10. But I'm going to take the conservative approach this year, and if I can take him as a value pick in this range, I will be more than happy to snatch him up. Up next at 14, it is Trey Lance. Are the 49ers just toying with the league at this point? Does anyone really believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to stick around? Lance will be the starter for San Francisco in 2022 one way or another. The kid is going to be raw to an extent, especially with his accuracy in the intermediate to deep passing game. He is likely going to struggle beating teams through the air, at least consistency. And while that is not ideal, I am not concerned with his fantasy prospects this year. Trey is going to light it up on the ground first and foremost. We have seen what rushing ability does to the bottom line when we talk about Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen. They all seem to be doing just fine. And while I am in no way comparing his ability to most of these guys, is anyone going to be too surprised if Lance does what Hurts did in 2021, where he finished as the QB9? I certainly would not be. Lance has one of the best situations surrounding him in the entire league. With Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, Elijah Mitchell, and a great defense, he is set up for success. Trey is not going to have to force the issue due to a ton of negative game scripts, and he has the benefit of Kyle Shanahan scheming up easy throws and putting him in the best position to succeed. I expect a big year from Trey Lance, and his upside might tempt me to overpay for a chance at winning the lottery. To 13 we go, and it is Kirk Cousins. And poor Captain Kirk does not deserve to be this low, believe it or not. After back-to-back finishes as the QB 11, he deserves more respect in the fantasy community. When we consider the positive changes that occurred in Minnesota in the offseason, it would not be outlandish to put him in my top 10. But like I said, the position is absolutely stacked this year, so he's gonna have to suck it up. The Vikings boast one of the best playmaking groups in the NFL, an ascending, though still probably middle of the road, offensive line, and a stud dual threat back to make Kirk's life a lot easier. They brought in the Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator to take it one step further. Cousins is going to have his down weeks, but more often than not, he's going to show up and give you a solid stat line. While he is unlikely to win you your week, he is certainly not going to be the reason that you lose it. Fantasy Kirk is a lot like real life Kirk. He's not exciting, he's not flashy, but the numbers are going to be there at the end of the day. He is one of the least risky picks that you can take, but staying true to character, he is not going to put you over the top. Derek Carr is in at number 12, and after just missing out on QB1 numbers in 2021, I believe that Carr makes the jump this season. The Raiders reloaded in a big way and finally provided him with a true number 1 wideout. Davante Adams is going to open this offense up, and I do not anticipate their connection taking long to blossom. Carr balled out last year while dealing with chaos, drama, and a lack of options in the passing game, especially as the season wore on. It really could not have gotten much worse. With all of that out of the way, Derek will be able to focus on delivering strikes to his playmakers and racking up stats. Darren Waller is back and healthy, and Hunter Renfrow leveled up last year. Add in Adams and you have the makings of a high-powered offensive attack. This is easily the best group of playmakers that Carr has had in his entire career, and I believe the Raiders have a top 5 unit in the making. I want all the pieces of it that I can get. Carr is a really good bet to return value in Sin City. At number 11, I have Russell Wilson, and the only concern that I have with him is the volume. Denver is obviously going to change their offense after trading for the future Hall of Famer, but they did still bring back Melvin Gordon, so how much is in question? If the Broncos allow Wilson his full complement of cooking utensils, he has everything that he needs to thrive. Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton are a solid 1-2, and Tim Patrick is no slouch. With their number 4 in KJ Hamler, the Broncos go 4D better than most. After dealing with injuries for the first time in his career, I think that Russ bounces back and makes the Hawks immediately regret trading him away if they haven't done that already. Wilson has a wider range of outcomes than I would like for a QB1, but he is not going to fall flat. Likely to be in some high-scoring affairs in the AFC West, Wilson is going to rise to the occasion when necessary to keep up. At the top of tier 2, I have Dak Prescott, and while it certainly was not the best offseason for Dak after he loses Amari Cooper in a salary dump and his offensive line also got weaker. However, he still has plenty of weapons to make it work. Michael Gallup is going to step into that number 2 role when he is healthy, and after breaking out in 2021, Dalton Schultz was franchise tagged. That gives him a couple of options alongside CeeDee Lamb, who was about to explode, so I think Dallas does just fine offensively, even if a step back is likely. Early reports suggest that Prescott is expected to use his legs more often in 2022 as well. That is music to fantasy owners' ears after Dak produced career-low rushing numbers last season. The biggest thing going for Prescott, though, is the NFC East. Prescott has dominated within the division his entire career, and likely he does that once again. Philly may give the Cowboys a run for their money, but New York and Washington both went backwards, so you can count on him crushing for a third of his games right off the bat. Prescott is going to be asked to do more than he has previously, and the production will follow. To 9, and it is Jalen Hurts. After the Eagles went out and traded for A.J. Brown, I expected Hurts to climb in my rankings after his QB9 finish last year. Instead, he's going to have to pick up right where he left off. The Eagles probably throw it more than they did in 2021, but I am not certain it is going to be a massive shift. There was a reason for the dependency in the running game, and I have not seen enough good of Hurts through the air to feel confident about moving him up my list. Hurts does have a top 10 1-2 punch in the wide receiver room with Devonta Smith as a complement to Brown, so there is plenty of upside if he can take the next step as a passer. There is legit top 5 upside in that case. If not, Hurts is going to once again depend on his legs to do damage, and that worked just fine last year for managers. Jalen carries plenty of risk, but also could pay off more if he elevates his game this year. Next up at 8, I have Lamar Jackson, and I am lower than most on Jackson at this point, but I think that it is for a good reason. The injury last year is of course one of them, but his contract situation is another. When the lack of viable receiving options is added in, the number of red flags is far more than I would like, so I have to knock him for them at least a bit. We know what Lamar does well, and few can match what he does on the ground with the ball in his hands. I don't particularly think that that goes away, but there has to be some improvements through the air for it to continue to work as well as it has in the past. That means a big year from Rashad Bateman is a necessity, and an encore from Mark Andrews is also going to be needed. I love Bateman's 2022 outlook, and I think that Andrews belongs in that Kelsey Kittle conversation, so at least he is in good hands there. Unfortunately, there is nothing else of note in the passing game after Baltimore traded away Hollywood Brown and replaced him with James Washington. Things are going to be harder for Jackson this season, and I think that he struggles at times to keep the Ravens on schedule. Jackson's otherworldly talent on the ground keeps him inside the top 10, but he would need a massive turnaround passing the football and the emergence of another threat to get into top 5 territory. Next up at number 7, it is Matthew Stafford, and it was not the best offseason for him. First, he lost Robert Woods, and that stings, and then Andrew Whitworth retired at tackle, and that doesn't help matters either. Thankfully, the Rams once again went all in to ensure as many holes were plugged as possible, and they got Stafford some help. I really like the addition of Allen Robinson, and LA was able to buy low on him after a brutal 2021 campaign. Robinson is just a year removed from looking like a top 20 wideout, and I believe that he will be a solid fill-in for Woods. If the transition here is smooth and Robinson returns to form, Stafford will once again have an awesome pair of receivers to work with. I am betting on it, and I see Robinson's struggles as more of a product of his surroundings than a complete drop-off in talent. With the Triple Crown winner returning after his new contract, the Kupp-Stafford connection will blossom once again. I expect monster numbers for both of these guys because of it. Stafford is also going to benefit from the return of a healthy Cam Akers, and defenses are going to have a lot of issues trying to stop all of the weapons that LA is throwing at them. In year 2 of this offense, Stafford is going to be more in control, dialed in, and comfortable. He could easily surpass 5,000 yards, and he carries little risk. My 6th ranked quarterback is Tom Brady, and the GOAT is back for at least one more go-round. Brady's return means Tampa Bay will once again be among the best offensive teams in the league. While the return of Chris Godwin is in question and certainly lowers the immediate ceiling of Tom Terrific, I still love his 2022 prospects. Showing no signs of slowing down, there is no reason to believe that Brady is going to be anything other than great this season. He still has Mike Evans, who is going to be fed to excess early on, and Russell Gage is an underrated signing that I love. Gage will slide into that number 2 role until Godwin is at 100%, and while there is certainly going to be a drop-off, he will still produce. The depth here is pretty solid, with Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson in complementary roles, so Brady is not going to lack options even without Godwin right away. After putting up MVP numbers last season and also being far more deserving of the award than Rodgers was, Brady might have a chip on his shoulder and use that to his advantage. He is going to threaten the top 5 once again. Moving on to 5, and it is Kyler Murray, and it's another quarterback here who's going to be without a stud wideout early. Murray is going to feel the loss of Nuke. The Cardinals moved quickly to fill the hole and traded for Hollywood Brown, which helps a lot. It is not going to be the same, but I think Brown's game is going to mesh well with what Murray does, and the two are going to connect early and often in 2022. I believe that the connection they build without Hopkins is going to benefit this offense as a whole, and once Nuke is back, it could be among the best in the league. With Rondale Moore entering year 2 and AJ Green proving that he is not done just yet, Arizona has plenty of firepower and some upside. Murray's legs put him in elite company, especially when he's in close. With the loss of Chase Edmonds, a few more rushing scores from Murray is a possibility. Kyler was the frontrunner for the MVP award last year before going down with his injury against the Pack. He has shown the ability to produce among the league's best, and I believe he returns to that form. I am slightly concerned with his contract situation, so make sure that you remain vigilant prior to the start of the season. But the Cardinals would be wise to just pay the man and let him do his thing. Tier number 1 starts with Joe Burrow, who I am all in on this year, and my ranking here reflects that. I just do not see any red flags after the Bengals filled every hole up front to protect him in the offseason. With the protection better, there is no telling what Joe Cool can accomplish. He has the best playmaker group in the league. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd will be too much for secondaries to handle, and after completing over 70% of his passes in 2021, it is clear that Burrow will make defenses pay. When you take into account the excellence in the backfield, this Bengals offense is destined for top 5 offensive numbers. Give me the quarterback leading that charge. The only thing keeping him back from being higher is his lack of ability on the ground. Next up at number 3, it is Patrick Mahomes. And the Chiefs may have had one of the worst off seasons in the league, but they still have a chance to put up solid numbers offensively. I will bet on that Andy Reid genius and the Patty playmaking ability to override the talent deficiency until proven otherwise. Mahomes struggled early in 2021 before reminding us of his incredible ability. That may again be the case as he works to build his rapport with his new pass-catching group. No Tyreek Hill means that Sky Moore, Mecole Hardman, and Juju Smith-Schuster will have to step up to fill a gap. There is a chance that Juju can return to 2018 form, and if that happens and more develops into what Kansas City is hoping, then the Chiefs will be back in business. Travis Kelce is going to be the focal point, and a career year is likely in store for him. Mahomes is going to have to spread it around more than he ever has, but if nothing else, he has a deeper core now than he has ever had in his career. Mahomes brings the magic once again this season. To number 2, and it is Justin Herbert, and I am really excited for him this season. After putting up massive numbers and eclipsing 5,000 yards in year 2, he could be in for even bigger things in 2022. Los Angeles chose to run it back on offense after coming up just short of a playoff berth last year, and they reloaded big time on defense. This should mean plenty of positive game scripts for Herbie, and the rapport with both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams will continue to grow. Having this elite duo to deliver balls to and the game's best pass-catching back to bail him out means that Herbert is going to put up monster numbers once again. With an underrated ability on the ground, Justin is the complete package. My number 1 player is Josh Allen, and there was really no doubt who this spot belongs to. I don't like the losses of Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders, but Gabriel Davis introduced us to his ability in the playoffs, scoring 5 times and racking up 242 yards in just 2 games. I believe he is a legit number 2, and a breakout from him is inevitable. Stephon Diggs is one of the best wideouts in the league, and he and Josh will put together a massive campaign in their Super Bowl revenge tour. With the breakout of Dawson Knox, Allen will have all the weapons that he needs. If he can't find anyone, he'll just break off a big run anyway. Few can match his ability to make something out of nothing. The Bills are going to be a force this year on both sides of the ball, and Allen is set to benefit from it once again. He is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football in 2022. And with that, I wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for joining me for it. I really hope you enjoyed the content, and I hope you learned something. If you guys have any questions on fantasy football information, please drop those down below. I would love to engage with you. Let me know what you think about these rankings. It is why I do this. As always, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. The support that I get means so very much, and it helps me out a ton. This is Relentless Press. I'm your host, Abraham Opatz, and we will see you next time.